Okay, our next article comes from Asia One, and this affects Hong Kong. The Hong Kong police defend tactics over video of officer tackling a 12-year-old girl goes viral. Human rights advocates and critics have warned of what they've called increasingly aggressive policing tactics in Hong Kong after a male officer tackled a 12-year-old girl and pinned her onto the ground during Sunday's anti-government protest. Although the young girl was not among the 300 people arrested that day, images of her being restrained on the streets of Hong Kong angered advocates for women's and children's rights, coming just days after officers knocked over a pregnant woman blocks away before using pepper spray. During the rally, Kowloon, by the way, I have been to a Kowloon city in Hong Kong on Sunday. Police unleashed rounds of pepper balls and pepper spray. Plainclothes officers wrestled demonstrators to the ground while water bottles were thrown at police wielding batons who went after other protesters. The responses have raised concerns of officers using excessive force and a disturbance much smaller than what regularly occurred during last year's social unrest. A police insider said that the force used a preemptive approach by making early arrests, preventing the demonstration from plunging into further violence, but an expert struck a more cautious tone, saying that the move risked innocent people being detained and did little to rebuild the people's image battered by accusations they used excessive force during the months-long anti-government movement last year. Sunday's demonstrators were answering anonymous online calls to protest that Beijing enacted national security law and the delay of the Legislative Council elections, which the government postponed for a year, citing health risk. So again, when you guys think that the coronavirus was an accident, I still say it was an act of war by China. Remember, they had the Southeast China gossip going on with Vietnam. They had the Hong Kong protests going on. They had the U.S. Trade deal going on, which they could get out of with an act of God. They had all these issues, and all eyes were on them. So, do you not think that they purposely got this out, and therefore all eyes were no longer on them? They were distracted. In this case, the legislative law they're saying is when Hong Kong kind of had their mayor governor elections for across our Congress, I guess, like U.S. Congress elections for each district. The Hong Kong people actually chose people that represented them and not the Chinese for like 95%. So that's why China does not want to put those people in office. They want to keep the old people in office. And the national security law, if you recall, anybody that talks bad about China, whether they're in Hong Kong or globally, can be deported back to China and face charges, and they can be extradited from Hong Kong to Beijing. So it's a pretty serious law. Okay, so activists could be heard chanting "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Times," a slogan that could run afoul. So again, the new law. So again, that guy on Blizzard, the tournament, he said that. Remember, they pulled him, they fined him, and whatnot. So that's what's going on with Hong Kong. But the real reason is international news. What is your stance on police and rioting? What do you think about, first off, this person wasn't even a demonstrator, but secondly, it was a child. I have a different article that was done in Cambodia. A 12-year-old boy broke the lockdown rules like a month or two ago, and the police officer did not like go harsh on this little kid. He actually bought something that the kid was selling, and then he kind of directed him back to the town. And the reason that the police officer did that, he said, yes, for adult, I would have been mean, but I don't want to give this kid a bad example of a police officer for the rest of his life. So I handled the kid differently, and I informed the officials of the town to monitor their children better. So I do commend Cambodia for the way they handle that, and I do have a video. I will put the video link up here if you want to see that story, because I did cover it. And so anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Give me your thoughts on police attacking either innocent people or children. Should they handle them differently? I want to know. Leave your comments below.